Welcome to Bike World, welcome to Triumph HQ here in Inkley in the UK, and welcome to the launch of two exciting new models. Steve, it's been a strange year for Triumph because when we launch new models, they're usually tweaked or they've improved a little bit, or it's Moto 2 derivative. And now this is completely new. This is not a tweak, it's not something that's been rebranded. These are completely two new models. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a whole new segment for us, obviously, and it's bringing that kind of entry point into the Triumph range down quite significantly, not just in terms of capacity, but in terms of affordability as well. And obviously, we have seen other brands do something similar. We've seen BMW, KTM all do those kind of mid-capacity, smaller bikes, and then obviously more recently we've seen guys like Royal Enfield doing 350s and stuff like that. There's quite clearly a significant market there. And we wanted to put something in that space.
So what we have is the Speed 400, and then we've got the Scrambler 400X.
Yep.
And just so there's no confusion, this isn't a bike that already exists with a Triumph badge on. This is a Triumph in every essence of the word Triumph, but using somebody else's engine. Is that correct?
No, not quite. So we don't believe in badge engineering at all. So not only is the chassis completely ground up development, the engine is also a complete ground up development. So we started this project about 5 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately it got delayed by about a year because of COVID.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing a collaboration across continents, effectively, you know, not being able to travel is a bit of a downfall. But the bikes are completely ground up developed. We did all of the concept work, we did all of the styling, we do all of the chassis development ourselves, as we would with any other Triumph really. Where the collaboration comes in is in terms of doing the detailed engineering and designing something that can be manufactured in significant volume. I mean, that's where Bajaj really do know their stuff.
And Bajaj, just to clarify, they're Indian based.
Yeah, so they're an Indian based company. You know, they produce 4 million motorcycles a year. I mean, they're used to doing that kind of high volume stuff.
Yeah.
They've got a supplier base that can deliver that high volume at a very, very competitive price.
Yeah.
So for us to be able to develop something that looks like a Triumph, it's got the quality of a Triumph, but we can bring that in at a price point that is very, very affordable, that collaboration really works.
So just to clarify, so this engine can't be found anywhere else, or it won't be found anywhere else. And you and the guys here in the UK said, we need single cylinder, we need this capacity, we need this torque, we need this fuel efficiency, and we need this service intervals.
Yeah.
And they met your requirements.
Yeah, exactly that. And there's been a lot of back and forth between the engineers in terms of how you achieve that as well. Yeah. And then also how you're going to test it, how you're going to make sure that it's got the durability, the quality that you'd normally expect from a Triumph.
Okay. And in terms of chassis, does it share anything with any other models in the Triumph range, or is this completely?
It is completely ground up design. Obviously, with the bike being built by Bajaj, some of the component suppliers are different from people that we would normally use. So you've got endurance suspension on here, you've got Bibury brakes, for example. Yeah. But, you know, I've ridden these bikes a lot, and, you know, they genuinely do perform. So, you know, I don't want anybody going away thinking that there's anything inferior about these bikes at all.
And in terms of, you got facts and figures in terms of what horsepower we've got, what torque we've got? And
yeah, so we've got 40 PS peak power. 37.5 Newton meters of torque, so it's a really strong engine.
That's a strong engine for this market.
That is a strong engine, yeah.
And in terms of weight?
So you've got 170 kilos on the Speed, 179 kilos on the Scrambler X. Obviously you've got the longer travel suspension on here, you've got things like handguards, you've got a headlight grille. So this bike's got a bit more componentry on it, which explains why you've got a little bit more weight on this bike. Cool.
And what I've also noticed is the quality of the tyres. You've not saved money or scrimped, as you could say, on the rubber. So we've got quality Metz the rubber also.
Well, the bikes really perform, so you want to give them rubber that allows you to experience that. So, you know, we've gone with Metzler's, you know, very, very good quality tyres. You know, some of the other bikes that sit in this segment maybe don't have quite such good quality tyres on them, but, you know, we think it's exactly the right thing to do for a Triumph.
Perfect. And in terms of market, when we spoke earlier off camera, I think it's going to be in India first and then come to Europe. Have you got dates for that?
Yeah, so exact dates we're going to release later, but there will be a launch in Europe later in the year. Yeah. Why is it being released in India first? Obviously, India is an absolutely huge market.
Obviously,
and the opportunity is there really to try and really kickstart the products in India, get that volume going, and then we'll bring it into other markets after that.
Right. And in terms of the Indian market and other markets, will they have the same model? Because I know on some bikes you'll have shoe brakes instead of disc brakes on the back or different tyres, but globally it's the same bike?
So globally, the bikes are exactly the same, apart from a few market variants that you need for homologation. So,
Yeah.
So you're
Number
like,
plate size.
in India you've got to have a front number plate. In India
Yeah.
you've got to have a sari guard. We put slightly longer mud guards on the Indian bikes because in the monsoon you need a bit more weather protection.
Okay. And obviously the big question is going to be pricing. Can you give us any indication? I know the price isn't set yet, but do we have a...
Yeah, I mean, people have asked who the competitors are, and we've said, we've been looking at the European brands, the likes BMW, KTM both have bikes in this kind of space.
Yeah.
And we will be competitive with those.
And be competitive with those?
Yeah.
Cool. And then finally, I put a few pictures on social media last night, and everybody was like, love the look of it. It looks like a Triumph. If you take the badges off it, it looks like a Triumph. But fewer people were asking, what about anything lower capacity? Can you, because obviously you've got this relationship now to build the 400, and it must be a 5-year working relationship, so I assume that there's other models down the line. Can you give us any indication?
So unfortunately not. I mean, we actually think 400 is the perfect size for what we're trying to go after in terms of that kind of middleweight entry price point. Obviously there are people who go down to smaller capacities of that. You then start to have to compete against a lot of the kind of Chinese products coming in.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a space where Triumph really want to be.
Okay, cool. Thanks for your time, Steve.
All right.
So that's it from here in Hinckley HQ. To see the bike in the flesh, it feels and looks like a Triumph, which is a huge compliment for this type of bike. I can't wait to ride the bike. Hopefully it'll be towards the end of the year. And as I said at the start of this video, this is a huge bike for Triumph. Triumph have done some amazing things. They're in MotoGP. They're doing world records with the Tiger 1200. They're launching giant rockets. But this is probably going to be the most important bike for next year. I can't wait to ride it. Hopefully it'll be somewhere glorious, sunny, and extravagant.
As always.
Cheers for your time, mate.
Cheers.